to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. Thank you so much to every single person that has subscribed to this channel. Yeah, it's growing beautifully. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. It's absolutely free. And make sure you hit that notification button so that you find out every single time we upload a new episode. By the way, we have started a new community called Karibu Nyumbani. Due to public demand, we've been getting so many questions about people who are seriously in transition to relocating to Africa. Some came from Africa and now coming back, so they have friends and family, and others have never been here, but they feel, maybe they've never been here, but down their ancestral line, they're definitely feeling the call to come home. So check out the links below and definitely join us there. If you're seriously considering coming and you need contacts, you need links to lawyers, banks, tips on how to get work, etc., etc. And we've been talking a lot about the awakening of Africa. It has happened in earnest, and so much is changing, so much is transforming. But because we are awakening to the truth of the great black, I was calling it the great black lie, the great white lie. That's what it is. And if you tell a lie often enough, people will actually start to believe it's the truth, which is what Babylon has done. They love repetition. But if we understand and understand that the world is spiritual first before it's physical, the very first law of the Hermetic principles is the law of mentalism. Everything comes from our mind, how our mind is thinking. And the mind is much deeper than what we've been taught the mind is. It's not just the brain that we see. It's much more, there's various levels of the mind, the logical mind, the heart mind, the sexual mind, etc., etc. But when we know the world is mental first, things like language become absolutely critical in order to overstand the dynamics of the world right now. Now, if we look, the world's top 10 languages, not even one, beloveds, not even one is an African language. Swahili doesn't even, I thought Swahili would make it, but Swahili didn't make it. And so that tells you a lot about our kingdoms. If our language isn't even on the top 10 list, that shows you how in this current matrix, we're literally unseen, but we're the ones fueling it. And so if you look, of course, English, Spanish, Russian, Portuguese, French, the main colonial tongues, which now they've even spread to others and have replaced many of the indigenous mother tongues as the collective. And you see, what we don't understand, beloveds, is they say Africa is rich of, is very rich, language rich. We have 800 current languages being spoken at this moment, at this point in time, as I'm speaking to you, currently being spoken across the continent. But you see, if we understand the law of mentalism and the power of group mind and group thinking and group talking, group narratives, then we'll see and understand how damaging it is. Even if we say, I speak like 3 languages. I speak Kiswahili, I speak Kikuyu, so the English I speak is really irrelevant. It is relevant because it's what we all collectively communicated, and so that drives our collective narrative. And if you look, the ones who have been able to maintain their languages are the kingdoms that are still standing in this Eurocentric, white supremacist, global Babylon system. So they say, Hindustani, of course, Hindu from India, Chinese, Russia, Arabic, Bengali, and Malay Indonesian, primarily from Asia. They've been able to maintain and safeguard their cultures, beloveds, because for them, they were able to, the cultural invasion wasn't as deep as it was here. And they could not be made to turn away from their ancestors like it happened here. Why did it happen here? Stories for other days. But when we look at language in Africa, Now they're saying that English isn't a new, is the language of globalization. When we look at language in Africa, what we're speaking as a group, we'll see that French is actually in the decline. In fact, now about 26 countries in total are speaking English. West Africa, which had been so long disconnected from the rest of Africa because of French, a lot of them are adopting French, or at least there are are adopting English, or there are English speaking people in the country. So it's like everyone is coming online because of English. Of course, we still have our Portuguese brothers and sisters on the southwest coast, Namibia. Well, Namibia is English speaking though, but the former colonies that we've kind of been disconnected from, the Angolas of this world. But English is becoming, it's not a good thing. It's like a two-edged sword, beloveds. It's not a good thing that the language of globalization is the language that now, Africa is adopting at a rapid speed. But it is a good thing because it's helping us to all come online and kind of come onto the same page. There's a lot of sharing of information, a lot of breaking of the mental bondage. So much truth is being spread so rapidly, as well as falsehoods and distractions and things that don't really matter. But for the most part, it's really helping the ones that need to come together, that 1%, to connect and on a spiritual level, and to kind of speak and move on one accord. Because people have to understand and understand what we're doing, where we're moving to as a collective for it to be successful. So English is almost like, so it's the thing that's bringing us together, but it's like, it's like taking poison to heal an illness where the poison could kill you. It's like the way people take chemotherapy, beloveds, where it kills all your cells and you hope that it will kind of, that your cells will be strong enough to come back. That's kind of how English is. Like, we're all using it. It's all indoctrinating us because it's all, that's the message of the machine. That's the message of globalization. But at the same time, it's enabling us to rapidly connect together. And by the way, in Africa, Kiswahili is on the rise. And maybe that will be the language of the future. But you see, if you understand English and you understand how it is a language of spells, then that means that what you say is what you mean. And there won't be any hidden meanings in what you say because you're so clear. You see, it's about being clear with your intention and your thoughts when you speak a thing. And so we all have to recognize how English has been used as a spell and how we can rig the language to work in our favor, to cancel out the smell, the smell as well, trust me, to cancel out the spell, but also to move us along until our language comes online. But the most important thing, beloveds, that we need to realize is that the tongue, this is the lowest level communication, the way we're using it right now. And that I know a lot of people panic about how will we adopt an African language? I'll let you know right after this.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. I really hope that you have already subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and like and share so that this word can get out more and more to, our brethren and our sistren. Thank you so much to every single person that supports us on Patreon. We appreciate, love you so much. We do share more of the information that's being censored on these and other platforms on there. So definitely consider joining. I'm talking about the politics of language. In Africa, the fact that right now the language of globalization, which is English, is actually being adopted by majority of African countries. French is on this receding end, which is a good thing. To hear French is getting less is awesome. But what do we do with the fact that everyone is coming online to English, and yet English is the mother of all Babylon languages? Because you see, at least the French and the Spanish of this world, they acknowledge the male and the female principles, whereas English is just a total abomination language, beloved, where everything can be twisted. Evil actually means live or life, Words are back to front and front to back, where they can have so many different multiple meanings. And so, and knowing that you could be speaking something and you're speaking something in your truth, but the way the word is being twisted around, if you're not spiritually strong, you could actually be cursing yourselves. And this language is extremely tricky, but I really think we can rig the language, beloveds, to make it work for ourselves. The fact that all of us are coming online, if we could use this channel, this language, to actually spread the truth of everything that's happening in Africa. I think the first thing that has awakened a lot of Africans on the continent has been the exposure of all the corruption and all the crazy foreign deals that our African leaders have signed. I think there's been a wave of that in the last 2 to 3 years, since around 2013. No, not 2013. I wish 2017. We've seen more and more stories getting out there into mainstream media, on social media, stories that couldn't be shared in the local press or were oppressed because the societies own the media in most African countries. They were being shared online. So the dynamics have really changed in terms of information is getting into our people. And before, the greatest weapon of Babylon and of their puppet presidents was the fact that our people lacked the information. But now they're getting the information in this foreign tongue called English. So how do we make it work for ourselves, beloved? It has to do with intention. Even when you're using a foreign tongue, your thought is more powerful than that tongue. And so it's using the words with the words take on the intention you give them. And so if you don't give them an intention, then they will take on by default. It's like a computer setting, by default, they'll take on the double or triple meaning of the Masonic 33rd degree masters that created it. And 33 degrees, by the way, is the first level of Freemasonry. They lied. But anyway, those are stories that really for other days. But you see what I mean, beloved? So if we have the intention, the purest intention, that our words mean this, we know why we're being driven and we speak with intention, then we can override the system and make the words and the language work for us. Which is why we have to release all the negative terms that they use, both that we, in our thinking, beloveds, all those negative things that have been spoken into over our lives, that have been spoken against us, all those negative words that are so low vibrational. We have to find a way to spin them and release them and not engage in those negative words, beloveds, because already the tongue is the lowest of the lowest communication. But think about the darts of the enemy are the careless words of those around you. Those are the darts of the enemy, and they don't even know you're their enemy, but those darts where, because the English language has already been booby-trapped to work against us, beloved. So those darts of the enemy are the careless words we talk with ignorance, even though a few of us do know what we're saying, but majority with ignorance, where you just casually say, "Oh, you're so stupid. Man, you're messed up," all these things. And it's just like, if we understood that those were darts, that if someone is spiritually weaker than us, they can literally succumb to those darts of the enemy, we would recognize that the battle, the liberation battle is up here. And in controlling our tongue, the unity will come in controlling our tongue and in graduating from relying so much on using this weak machine to communicate and return to the way we were originally, where we used this. And you see, the enemy can't hear this. They can't read this. And that's how the liberation will be won, when enough of us are online telepathically. And it's already happening, beloved. But it's almost like we need so much confirmation. So when it happens, you almost want to say it. And then, there's, "Oh my gosh, I was just thinking that. Oh, wow, I just discussed that yesterday." You see, it's like we're all online. But as I said, for us to all be mentally online and be able to defeat the enemy mentally and spiritually, We have to have this open book kind of system because that's how that level operates. You can see me clearly, I can see you clearly because I have absolutely nothing to hide and my intentions are pure. So that's why it comes back to what I've been saying since the beginning of this channel. Work on clearing yourself, detoxing yourself. And it's not like you have to do that and only that, but as you work on that, as you increasingly devote more of your time and energy to that, so many doors of wisdom, of knowledge, of power will open to you continuously. Just show yourself worthy, show that you're committed to transforming your life and living your best life, and things will start to happen. And this language thing, our people got this. Tuko pamoja.